So, what are the Akashic Records? Would it shock you to know that most religions have a similar concept? Some call it the Book of Life, some call it the Preserved Tablet, some call it just simply Akasha. But what I like to call it is the energetic space that holds the wisdom of your soul. And so it is this energetic space that holds your soul's history. So every thought, feeling, and action across time and all lifetimes is stored in this energetic space. And a lot of people experience it more as a library or a book that they open and see and pull files from. Some people experience it as more of a subtle energy. I experience it more like a presence of masters, teachers, guides, loved ones, record keepers who are feeding me information specific to the person whose records I'm in. And so this brings me to a really good point because the fact that the concept is often a book or a book of life or a library, it does feel like maybe it would be really basic and you would just go in, pull a file, read the file, and have the information. And that just seems to be very robotic or very not very profound, right? But what you have to remember is that the Akashic Records contain all of the files from your soul's entire history. And what happens when you enter the Akashic Records is that all of these files are basically assimilated into a perspective shift based on whatever you're asking the records at that time. And so it's not just one file at a time, it's many files that have been incorporated into sometimes metaphors, sometimes this beautiful poetic answer. Sometimes it's pretty direct, and especially if you need to hear it, but it's never judgmental. And so that brings me to what the Akashic Records are not. The Akashic Records are not judgmental. There are no rights, wrongs, or shoulds. So meaning, is this the right or wrong thing to do? That's not a concept that they abide by. Should I do this? Again, not something they abide by. Really, what they're concerned with is they are concerned with helping you gain perspective shift to meet your destiny, meet your soul's purpose, meet your soul plan. And so they never tell you what to do, but they will give you guidance and they will help you shift perspectives on things. What it's also not is it is not a psychic space. And so what I mean by that is that in the Akashic Records, time is kind of abstract. Because you're dealing with the concept of time as infinity, the concept of this lifetime is basically just a blip. So when you ask about time, it's really hard to get a clear answer. And so that's one of the first reasons that this really isn't a psychic modality. And the second reason is that when the Akashic Records give you a vision into the future, that is based on your perspective today in the moment and the highest probability of what the future outcome will be. And so that could change at any moment. And so I just wanted to make that clear because I think a lot of people think that maybe it is a psychic modality and it really isn't. And so what they really do is they give you information that is specific to you that really has probably always been there. You've always had kind of a knowing of it, or you have had some inkling of it, but they present it to you in a way that is so profound that it's like a light bulb moment. What they also do, which is so beautiful, is they bring people back to themselves. And what I mean by that is that they really help shift people into a place and a space of love and compassion for themselves. And to me, that's the most important thing we can possibly do in this lifetime. And so the more and more you interact with the records, and the more they're non judgmental, and the more they're unconditionally loving, and the more that they remind you of who you are and how you have limitless potential, the more and more you start to believe it. And that is one of the most profound gifts from the Akashic Records. And so if you're wondering what happens in a reading, I will upload a video here soon that explains exactly that. Take care, guys.